नमस्कार. आयच्या ह्या खाशेल्या हिडोनाक तुमकां सगळ्यांक येवकार. आमी आसात कांपालार गॉन्साल्वीस मेन्शना भितर आनी आज आमचे बरोबर गेस्टी तशेंच सामके स्पेशल आसात. आमचे बरोबर देशांतले एक नामनेचे राजकारणी, वन ऑफ इंडियाज फॉरमोस्ट थिंकर्स अँड लीडर ऑफ स्वराज अभियान, योगेंद्र यादव. सर, वेलकम टू द शो. I'll start with the most pertinent question. Do you still hold that dream of alternate politics, and how confident you are that the dream can be converted into reality with your recent experiences?
Why not? You see, what has changed? We started on a very long journey. If you remember, when Aam Aadmi Party was formed, I said in the very first meeting, very first public meeting in Jantar Mantar, I said, let us be prepared for 20 years. Let us not rush. Changing this country is not going to happen before struggle, before lot of work. What we have seen in the first 2 or 3 years is that we got unexpected success. We got so much citizens' response which we had not imagined. We also faced challenges. We also were prone to the disease that were there in the polity itself. You know, it happens sometimes when there is infection in the city. You get to read that small news in the newspaper that one doctor and one nurse also caught infection. That is what happened. One doctor and one nurse also caught infection. That doesn't mean that you will stop curing infection.
But what went wrong? Do you think that once you are in power, is it very difficult to hold on to the founding principles of the party? That is what happens in India often. Every party comes forward by saying that we are a party with a difference, and once they are in power, there is no difference.
You're right to say that it is very difficult to hold on to those principles when you are in the contest. You know, you can think of Aam Aadmi Party or think of the BJP in Goa. You know, it came on the promise of zero tolerance against corruption, and look at where they are right now. So yes, it is very difficult, but that is precisely when you need voices, which would be voices of truth, of principles. You need to be very careful in listening to those voices. When political parties stop listening to those voices, they become dead. This is what happened in Aam Aadmi Party. Yes, Arvind was interested in winning Delhi, which was important, which is very vital. And someone must do that in a political party. At the same time, you need a Prashant Bhushan who would say, no, you can't do it with these kind of characters. People like Mr. Jitendra Tomar are not on. Please stop them. You need a Prashant Bhushan to be able to say, these people have tainted background, don't have them. You cannot say winning at all cost. The moment you get into winning at all cost, then you are no different from a Congress or the BJP. Then you surround yourself with yes men of all kinds.
Then what went wrong? Did winning an election become more important than the cause that you are fighting for?
This is what happened in Aam Aadmi Party. I think after the Lok Sabha election performance, which was not very encouraging for some of my colleagues, I personally didn't expect anything better, so I was all right. But many of my colleagues expected overnight success. They were disappointed, and then became a desperation to win Delhi Assembly election at all cost. Prashant and I constantly warned against that. We said, look, winning is very important. We'll put all 24 hours into that. But let us not say at all cost. Let's not bring in these real estate wallas. Let's not bring these builders. Let's not bring this property dealers. Let's not bring all that of the uncouth variety. Let's not bring all of them into
Was
this
it a
party.
survival battle? That survival battle changed the entire dimension.
The survival battle is what tests your character. Are you willing to do anything to stay up? Aam Aadmi Party was not going to disappear. In fact, if it had fought honestly in Delhi, if the party had said we will fight election, but we will do it with honest means, we will not bring in the kind of tainted candidates that people like me were objecting to, that we will not resort to unfair means, maybe Aam Aadmi Party would not have won 67 seats. Maybe they would have won 57, maybe even 47. But what was wrong with that? Even if it was 37.
You would have still been in power.
Yeah, and even I say extreme case, even if we were not in power, life does not begin or end with the chief minister's position. We came to politics to do something meaningful, not somehow to sit in a chair called chief minister's chair.
But don't you think that number of 67 was attained not only because of the charisma of Aam Aadmi Party, but because of the strategic blunders of your opponents also?
Obviously, the BJP contributed to the success, it is true. But I must say that the success of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi was achieved initially with lot of very solid organizational work, much of which was supervised by Arvind personally. I would still give Arvind a lot of credit for a solid organizational work that he did. Towards the end of the election, BJP just lost nerves. PM Modi lost nerves, started attacking Arvind individually, and then they brought in Ms. Kiran Bedi, which sort of completed the job for us. So I would imagine that BJP gifted the last 15 or 20 seats to us.
But when it came to selection of candidates, now all these skeletons are coming out of the cupboard. Did you express your apprehensions during that time itself that the selection of candidates is based on winnability rather than the credibility?
Yes, of course, and we said that in writing. We actually, Prashantji and I, took a complaint against 12 candidates. There were about 25 we were uneasy with, but at least 12 we had formal written evidence against. We took it to the party, and when when it was clear that people like Prashant and I will raise our finger, we were bypassed from the candidate selection process. We said
all these people who have been accused of different illegalities or irregularities now, were they a part of that list of 25 candidates?
Some of them were, not all of them. About Mr. Jitendra Tomar, we had complained in the month of February, just immediately after election. We got those documents about his fake degree. And Prashantji was not entirely sure of the nature because there were some typographic errors in that document. And then we said, in writing, we said to the party's national executive, his degree looks fake. Please get internal inquiry in the party done. So now after 4 months when the party says, oh, we were taken for a ride, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. Yes, you were taken for a ride, but that's precisely why you need an inquiry. And we were not saying sack him from the position on day one. We were simply saying hold an inquiry, which is exactly what we demanded from Manmohan Singh. Manmohan Singh said there's no corruption in 3G. We said, how do you know? Why don't you get an inquiry? Now Mr. Kejriwal said, Tomar is right, but I will not get an inquiry done. So how is he different from a Manmohan Singh? How is he different from a Narendra Modi?
It can be argued that you are too idealistic, and such idealism is very impractical when it comes to Indian politics. You can't run politics if you become that much idealistic. How would you respond to that?
The challenge then is, if we are saying that idealism has no place in politics, then why do we challenge mining mafia in Goa? We should say, all right, let us not be idealistic. Some mining mafia will remain there. Why do you use words like zero tolerance for corruption? Let us say openly, zero tolerance for corruption is not possible. You see, unless you have a certain idealism, how can you do meaningful politics? This country won its freedom based on politics which was politics of idealism. Goa won its liberation based on politics of idealism. And if this country has a future, it has to be based on some idealism. Otherwise, why do you live? Why do you practice politics? And what is too much idealism? I don't understand.
Are we still in a mode of repair? Can we repair Indian politics, or we have gone beyond repair? The corrupt system will always prevail in the end. That's what the experience of the general electorate has been. Can we change that? Can we repair that? Is it even in the mode of repair?
Our country is like the house that we live in. There is no other house to which we can go. This is the only house in which I live. And if this is the only house that you live in, you never say it's beyond repair. You always say something can be done. A lot can be done. Take Goa, for example. Lots of Goans say Goan politics is beyond repair now. But I keep saying, yes, I understand. You have a nature of challenge which is enormous with mafia on mining, with all the violations of sea coast, all kinds of corruptions taking place everywhere, including education. There is a big challenge, and corruption may be more organized here than before. I'm told that in the times of Congress, corruption was large but disorganized. Now it's very streamlined and organized. So that's the challenge may be big, but the possibilities are also huge. Goa is one place in the country which has an outstanding record of citizens' initiatives, beginning with the opinion poll or referendum in 1967. Goa is one of the few places which has successfully challenged SEZs, which has successfully forced the governments to change policies when it comes to environmental protection and economic protection for the people.
Is completely clean politics a utopian idea? Anywhere in the world, not only in India, the politics cannot be clean. The moment you are in the position of power, there are compromises, there are balancing acts, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's very difficult to be completely clean.
Completely clean may be an ideal. As Gandhiji said, a point in Euclidean geometry is something you actually can never draw in reality, because a point is something which has no width or no length. But it's an ideal towards which you strive. The day you stop believing in that ideal, in that concept, that very day you've lost it. So we have to keep struggling for it.
Is there a problem with our mindset? Including if you watch the television advertisements of Aam Aadmi Party, is there a problem with our mindset? It is not only system, but it is about the people who run the system.
I don't know. When I saw that ad, I felt very sad. I felt almost ashamed. I don't know how sensitive people can watch that advertisement and still feel proud of that movement, because it's the sheer vulgarity of that personality cult. Within 2 minutes, you name someone 11 times. If someone were to do it to me, I would stop that person and say, please stop being
Very
vulgar.
embarrassing.
Embarrassing, and it would be vulgar. It is obscene. If someone did that to me, if you were to do that to me for 2 minutes, I would say, please don't do that. This is not civil. And if you were to do it at public expense, at the money given by the poorest of rickshaw puller who buys a matchbox, if I'm using that money to promote myself, this is corruption.
It's criminal.
It's just not done. It's uncivil. Not to speak of the Supreme Court orders, which it violates. Supreme Court says you cannot use public money to glorify an individual. This is what's happening here. Yes, something is wrong with our political culture.
So it is our mindset. It is not only the system, but it is also the people who run the system.
Yes, and therefore simply changing someone who sits in the chair is not going to change this country. We need to change the entire political culture. Very soon people slide to becoming personality oriented. Even in Swaraj Abhiyan that some of us are leading right now. People say, Yogendra, tum aage badho, hum tumhare saath. And I say, this is precisely what we are fighting against. So we in Swaraj Abhiyan, for example, have made a rule that we are not putting up these big banners with photographs of individuals. We will not deify living human beings. We will not have slogans in the name of living human beings. These are small ways of beginning to change this culture. So yes, we need to change those who are in positions of power. We also need to change the systems through which they operate. We also need to change the culture of the people, which contributes to all this.
Where do you want to take Swaraj Abhiyan? India Against Corruption gave birth to Aam Aadmi Party. Swaraj Abhiyan will give birth to what?